Trigger warning, this one's a downer. It mentions a suicide and the existence of sexual assault. And I'm going to call fraternities frats. You got a problem with that? Get your own podcast. Think of this episode as a public service announcement. It's fall, and we're in the red zone. If your kids are off to college, can you check the Sam's Law stats on the website of your son's new frat? Or assume your daughter is safe in her new boat club in London? I'm not sure it's that simple. Welcome to the red zone. What goes on behind those creaky old boathouse doors? Who's invited and who feels comfortable? Who's safe and who thrives? Who stays and why do some leave? And why do rowers do some of the weird things they do? Let's talk about rowing culture. And this time, let's do it from the perspective of the third boat. I'm Jen Butler. This is the Third Boat Podcast. Happy fall, everyone. Here in Seattle, the leaves are falling. The rowers are trying to remember where they stored their winter rowing tights. Theta Chi at University of Washington is back up again. This is the frat Joel McHale briefly joined 30 years ago. The Interfraternity Council, the IFC, suspended them for 4 years when it was determined they had retaliated in relation to a Title IX case. I had to park next to the house a few times this summer, and it was quite a thorough renovation. But the building and the grounds look lovely. In addition to their lovely new landscaping, they have a new Facebook page. On their Facebook page, they say 0 Sam's Law violations, last 5 years. Holy disingenuous metrics, frat man. That frat was shut down for 4 years for the Title IX retaliation. And Sam's Law was just signed into law 2 years ago. Theta Chi's other chapter at Washington State University is currently suspended. Luke Tyler, a freshman rushing that frat, died by suicide last year after hazing. I should note that Theta Chi, C-H-I, is different from Theta Xi, X-I. I had to double check as well. Because if you attended the UW in the 90s, you probably remember the sheep incident. That was different. That was a different frat. During Hell Week in 1990, fraternity pledges were found in their skivvies covered in peanut butter with, quote, overheated and agitated, end quote, sheep. The UW IFC had adopted an anti-hazing policy the year prior after members of Delta Upsilon killed a chicken by dropping it off a balcony in Kane Hall. So again, that was Theta Xi, not Theta Chi. 2 different ones. And now, the red zone. In American football, the red zone is the distance between the 20-yard line and the goal line. It's where you're more likely to score. And in the rest of college, the red zone denotes the time when you're most likely to hurt someone or get hurt. This is when hazings happen and 50% of sexual assault. Freshmen are at most risk. Most assaults happen between 12 and 6 on a Saturday or a Sunday morning every year. It's predictable. The red zone runs till Thanksgiving in the US, end of term in the UK. So at campuses, there are red zone or now green dot training and awareness. Sometimes there are custom-made programs. Sometimes these programs look serious. Sometimes they look like they're there to minimize liability. There are often workshops, which everyone participates in. Here's what I feel we don't say, but everybody already knows right and wrong, correct? Everyone already knows about consent. They know it could be given, and it could be changed. I thought we already knew that hazing was bad and women have a right to safety in universities. I thought we had this conversation a long time ago. And yes, I realize how naive that sounds. I don't really understand how workshops can help, but I'm willing to learn. When I was at university in Seattle, the Home Alive movement began after Mia Zapata of the Gits was raped and murdered after leaving her job at the Comet Tavern in Capitol Hill. Women worked together to try to keep each other safe in their unique world of dive bars, nightclubs, late nights, and dark streets. You may have heard of some of the music that came from that time. 7 Year Bitch's album, Viva Zapata, is in honor of Mia. If you were at the Ohana Festival in September, you would have heard Eddie Vedder's cover of Eddie Holland's Motown hit, Leaving Here. This song was from a CD compilation made to support the Home Alive cause in 1996. As a side note, the music industry in Seattle from about 1990 to 97 is fascinating. I would happily talk over a beer comparing Home Alive to similar efforts in rowing clubs, but it would have to be at the Comet, Mia's bar. It still exists. At university in the States, there is a Title IX office on all campuses that manages policies and guidance and establishes process in the sad event someone is hurt by sexual violence. Based on my research, it appears that processes aren't always clear and consistent between universities, and I'm somewhat baffled by the protocols in British universities and boat clubs. The most current pulse point I see is an open letter on the Junior Rowing News site. Sexual abuse in sport, an open letter to the rowing community. We will visit Britain later. However, I think it's worth noting this letter that just came out last month. It's worth a read, not just for the letter itself, but for the accompanying survey responses. The author refers to an Instagram poll from the account Henley Love. Respondents were asked, quote, "Do you think enough is being done to protect women in rowing from abuse?" End quote. Of the 1,045 people who chose to respond, 76% said no. Participants could choose to answer the following question. Quote, "What can clubs and athletes do to help women?" End quote. Out of the 85 responses, 15 indicated clubs should refuse to admit people that were known offenders or to remove existing problem offenders. Quote, "Not letting rapists row for them would be a cracking start." End quote. At least 10 out of the 85 expressed concern about performance taking priority over personal safety. I don't know why, but this is the one that kind of breaks my heart. Quote, "Stop prioritizing rowing ability over behavior. A sub-6 2K doesn't excuse being a creep." End quote. I attended the U.S. Safe Sport training for volunteers this summer. I learned a lot more than I thought I would, and now I find the article, and in particular some of the associated poll comments, alarming. If your daughter is rowing in Britain, how do you know for sure she will be safe? I'm Jen Butler. This is the Third Boat Podcast. Thank you for listening.